In the Japanese underworld, there is one absolute rule. If the boss points to something white and calls it black, you agree it is black. Look at a standard corporate org chart, and you see power distributed based on skills and titles. But the Yakuza operate on the Oyabun Kobun system. Power flows directly from a single patriarch down to his children, forming a pseudo-blood family. Getting into that family requires months, sometimes years, of grueling apprenticeship. Recruits live in the syndicate office, scrubbing floors and memorizing a hyper-strict code of manners and posture. They are proving they can survive the final initiation. In this world, the standard business contract is replaced by a religious vow. To police and rival gangs, this creates a unified mob. To the recruit, the process intentionally strips away their independence, anchoring their entire identity to the will of the father. That bond is sealed through the Sakazuki ceremony. The boss and the recruit share clear sake poured into a traditional rab lacquer cup. By drinking from the same vessel, they are symbolically sharing blood. This oath carries heavy religious weight. The men pledge their loyalty before major Shinto deities, like Hachiman Daibosatsu, the god of archery and war. Once that cup is drained, the power dynamic locks into place. The boss gains total dictatorial authority over the subordinate's life, and the subordinate surrenders their personal autonomy. How does a criminal syndicate, operating in a fiercely competitive modern economy, rely on an archaic religious oath to maintain order? The answer requires stripping away the cinematic myth of the honorable samurai gangster. The Yakuza's strict family structure actually evolved from early modern Japanese labor camps. Centuries ago, historical bosses had to manage crews of uneducated, rough-hewn laborers, like stevedores hauling heavy cargo on the docks. To keep these men in line in places like soot-choked coal mines, the bosses built a dual structure. They provided the economic baseline, food and wages, but layered it with the emotional promise of paternal protection. The Oyabun Kobun Code emerged as a highly practical survival mechanism to organize Japan's marginalized working class into cohesive, loyal units. That history created a system of extreme leverage. Today, a boss holds the power of social execution. Through hamon or expulsion and zatsuen, permanent insulation, a boss can exile a member from the underworld entirely. But the leverage goes both ways. The subordinate actually holds the power to socially kill the boss. Because the Yakuza operates strictly outside the bounds of civil law, their entire ecosystem runs on face and reputation. If a neglected or reckless subordinate commits a high-profile crime without permission, they destroy the boss's standing among rival syndicates and the police. This dynamic forces an unwritten contract. The subordinate offers blind obedience, but only because the boss provides genuine empathy, financial backing, and a willingness to shield them from the consequences of underworld life. Far from a master-slave dictatorship, a successful Yakuza clan is a fragile, symbiotic hostage situation. It requires absolute mutual trust to keep the entire structure from collapsing. Right now, that trust is breaking. Modern syndicates, most notably the massive Yamaguchi-gumi, have splintered into warring factions, leaving a trail of crime scenes and police tape in their wake. Crushed by severe new anti-gang laws, modern bosses have started treating their children as disposable corporate assets. If a subordinate causes trouble, the boss rapidly expels them as damage control to avoid prosecution. This chart shows what happens when individual wealth rises to the top. As earning power increases, it shatters the traditional hierarchy. Pash has overridden seniority, and wealthy subordinates no longer respect the sacred hierarchy. The breakdown is so severe that a bizarre new trend has emerged: fake expulsions. Young earners actively ask to be kicked out of the family, freeing them to run lucrative front companies without drawing police heat to the boss. Western observers often misinterpret rigid Yakuza loyalty as their greatest weapon. The reality is that their reliance on an outdated pseudo-familial bond has become a fatal flaw. As capitalism and police pressure squeeze the underworld, the sacred cup of sake has finally run dry.